The man with the scar on his cheek looks down at the cold steel of the railway tracks, and the morning sun glints back up at him. He wonders what it would be like to meet your end in this place. The wind picks up for a moment, and he pulls his thick coat around him against the chill. The sharp breeze cuts into the scar on his cheek and makes it ache. A dozen or so separate railway lines branch here, and a complex spider's web of iron that stretches out to meet the platforms at Sheffield Station. Another man, in a bright orange safety vest with reflective flashings, stands a few paces ahead, holding a black and white communications paddle. He's there for protection, in case there's a mix-up and a train gets shunted through on the wrong line. A radio crackles on his belt. There's not a great deal to see, of course. The body found here 13 years ago is long gone. The parents of the teenage boy have put him to rest, and the blood and any other evidence have been washed away by countless rainstorms. And yet, the man tries to imagine what it was like. It had been late evening, snowing heavily, and East Midlands trains were already running a reduced service. There were no witnesses passing on the final trains in from Manchester or Nottingham. The original investigation posited a rival gang, some turf beef that ended in a knife to the guts. Tragic and unnecessary, but sadly not unusual. The death of young boys is an embarrassing stain on the reputation of this city, which once had a different reason for the fame of its knives. His parents and friends said he wasn't in a gang, but then, they always say that, don't they? The boy's corpse had been found the next morning, half buried in a snowdrift and an unnaturally deep shade of blue. The body so unrecognisable the driver who reported it assumed it was an animal hit by a passing train. The woman sent out to check had needed weeks of counselling. After a few months, the investigation stalled. The case was filed away with all the other unsolved cases, which is what has brought the man with the scar here. Finished, the railway worker has returned from the tracks ahead. Only the 8:15 from Plymouth will be through soon, and if they have to divert, it'll throw a right spanner in the works. They begin the short walk back to the platform. I can't imagine what you thought you'd find after all these years. Reckon this was a bit of a waste of your time. The railway worker clearly considers it a waste of his, but the man with the scar has found something. A building that overlooks the crime scene. He knows no one in those offices was interviewed in the original investigation. Maybe someone in the building was working late that night. Maybe they saw something they didn't fully understand at the time. Maybe they'll remember it. 13 years later, maybe. He thanks the railway worker and takes his leave of the station, following the curve of the cutting-edge sculpture in Sheaf Square as it glistens in the morning sunlight. He walks up the hill past the university buildings and crosses Arundel Gate, cutting through the Millennium Gallery and the Winter Garden, and onto Surrey Street. Outside the coffee shop, a barista stares in disgust at a young homeless guy tucked up close to the wall against the chill. The man with the scar drops a couple of quid into the lad's styrofoam cup. "You shouldn't encourage them," the barista scolds, and disappears back inside. At the counter, the man orders his drink while the barista pointedly continues his conversation with a colleague, extolling the merits of his one-man war on destitution. "Have a good mind to call the police," the barista says, and holds a Sharpie poised against the cup. "What name is it?" he asks distractedly. "Tyler," says the man with the scar. "Detective Sergeant Adam Tyler." The barista manages a sick smile and hurries away to steam some milk.